everybody, I think, wants a little bit of help with their money. I'm pretty sure that people want help with their money. I think people think because they have money, they actually know something about it. And sometimes that, I guess, is a conundrum in itself. But hey, they know how to get some. Russ Cole joins us. He's the president and chief advisor with Sage Advisors, LLC, with over 25 years in the financial industry. Russ, how you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. And
you came from the riots.
I did. The helicopters were up all afternoon.
Really? Your windows didn't get smashed?
No, thank you. Thankfully.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. So you must, 25 years of working with people, helping them with their finances. You must have been asked a ton of questions.
Yes, I have.
Ranging from everything, huh?
Ranging from, the whole spectrum.
And so when people are asking you questions, I mean, do you agree? Do you think having the opportunity to give somebody advice is a win-win situation for not only the giver, but also the receiver?
Oh, absolutely. I know that when I talk to people about what their goals are and what they can do, I feel wonderful about being able to help them. So
it seems that sometimes people think everybody's just so busy, but sometimes that personal connection is still so valuable in what people can do. So, let's talk a little bit about financial planning because, you kind of talk about the conversation, people reaching out to help you or reaching out to you for you to help them with their finances. How does that conversation start?
Well, most people, when they come to me, they're just scared. Almost everybody that comes to me thinks that they're the
only... You're
a
scary guy, Russ.
Thank you. They're convinced they're the only person that doesn't know what they're doing. And they're convinced that they have no clue and they're going to completely fail. And it's always amazing to me. People are just assume the worst when they don't know what they're doing. And so they come and they're always embarrassed. It's kind of like, please, don't laugh when I start to talk about my situation. But nobody's really nearly as bad off as they think they are, especially if they're coming in and asking for help.
Is that, I guess, so that's a common theme, which seems, people who actually are taking the time to go get help are sometimes at that first step, the ones who are embarrassed about needing help.
That's exactly right. Everybody is scared. Everybody's embarrassed. But the fact that they're even asking is where you have to start.
And that is the right place to start. I mean, you have to ask for help because, well, if you want help, I guess you got to ask for it, right?
Absolutely.
So how does that financial planning then conversation go from there? If, first they get over I should have saved more money, right? That sob story, and their wives, they blame each other, right? Well, she likes to shop at Nordstrom's and he likes to golf. Maybe that's just our conversation I have with my wife, but I imagine other people are the same. Where does it go from there?
The starting point always is helping them to figure out what do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? And for most young families, the starting point is everything from buying their first home to retiring someday or raising a family. And almost everything kind of falls in that spectrum somewhere, but really trying to help them figure out what does that look like? What do I really want? And helping them to try and picture that and vision it.
And I guess that's one of the biggest pieces is helping them really decipher what it is that they want.
Absolutely. I mean, it has to start with a goal. If you don't have an idea where you're going, you're certainly not going to get there.
It's if you're not going, what Cheshire Cat, right? Where are you going? I don't know. Well, that doesn't matter which way. I botched that one. Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland says something very similar. I can't do it because I haven't watched Alice in Wonderland for a very long time. So Russ, so the goals, I mean, that's kind of the predecessor to the plan.
Absolutely.
And you'd say home and retiring, family. And then at that point in time, it's like, okay, so here's your goals, right? You lay those out. And then how does that next piece work?
Well, there's two ways to get there, actually, and it depends on the goal. Let's just assume it's retirement, because I don't know that I talk to anybody that doesn't want to retire at some point in time. Or
at least have the option.
That's exactly right. At least have the option that when the time comes, they have that choice. And there's really two ways to get there. There's okay, I have a vision. I know where I want to get. What's it going to take to get there? Or quite frankly, it's, okay, here's what I have to work with. Is that going to get me close and at least have an idea where they're going? But the point is, my ideal is to help them get that picture in their mind, what it looks like. And then to say, okay, how do you get from here to there?
And so what are some of those big tools? I mean, getting from here to there sounds hard.
Without doubt, most people should start by looking at their employer's retirement plan. So many people work for companies that have a 401k plan, and most, or certainly a lot of those plans have a match where if you put money into the plan, the employer is going to put money in along with your money. And far too many people just don't take advantage of that.
And I guess that's kind of that first stop there that is pretty easy to do. I mean, that's a form to fill out that can maybe make people feel like they're on the right path. Absolutely.
If just a matter of filling out the form and say, take some money out of my paycheck. And even if it's as simple as figuring out what the company's matching formula is. If the company says, we'll put $1 in for every dollar you put in, up to 3%, start with 3%.
Yeah, it's almost amazing that then you get that momentum. I mean, that's what we see, especially people who want to buy a house, right? They come in, they get pre-approved, that momentum of, okay, I got pre-approved, I can do this. Or, kind of, it's kind of the same thing, that step by step that then builds momentum to the ultimate goals.
Absolutely. They say that the hardest part is actually getting started. If you start saving and say, okay, now I know I'm effectively on track to retire at some point, then to begin to build on it and say, well, gee, if I do a little bit more, it becomes that much easier to start building each year.
So what are some other ways people can build? We're here with Russ Cole, President and Chief Advisor with Sage Advisors. Russ, we just have a couple of minutes left before we have to go to break, but what are some of those other strategies, I guess, that people can start with?
Well, I'm a big proponent of, specifically if you're talking about retirement plans, I'm a big proponent of after-tax in terms of like Roth IRAs, or if you have it available in a 401k, Roth 401ks. As I said, I'm a big proponent of figuring out what those goals are, and the industry has made available tools for each of the goals. And so if you're talking about education goal, there's education accounts, there's 529 plans, there's Coverdale accounts. If you're talking about retirement, you've got Roth IRAs, you've got 401ks. So really, it's figuring out what your goals are and then finding somebody to help you figure out what tools are going to help you get there.
Back to just what I had mentioned at the top of the hour was reaching out and trying to find the right people. It sounds to me like a lot of your practice is kind of based on, okay, now you found the right person, but it's a little bit of a sounding board game. Well, okay, the advice I give you might be different for somebody else, which is why it's important to reach out and find somebody to kind of connect with so that the dots you're connecting are your own.
No question about it. I'm convinced that if you can go out and find a professional that cares about you, that's the starting point. And then they're going to be able to help you through the process of figuring out what's important to you and how you're going to get there. And it's going to change all the time.
Yeah, Russ, I think right there, I think you hit it on the head. You find somebody who cares about you, and those people are out there. Not everybody is a shark, as much as the naysayers, I think, would like to think everybody's out to get them. I think it's because the 1% of the people who are out to get people are the ones who make headlines, make it a lot harder for people like you to build that trust. It takes a little bit more time. Russ, thanks for joining us again. Russ Cole, President, Chief Advisor with Sage Advisors. When we come back, the Michael Ryan Pattison Foundation is going to join us, a group established in 2006 to raise money and awareness so others with spinal cord injuries can have access to the best care for their disability. Certainly something you're going to want to hear because it's a great people. They are great people to connect with. My name is Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashenomics.